My name is Kellen and my family has been going to Crossroads since I came to preschool here when I was 3. Growing up, we didn't really come consistently. I was involved in travel ice hockey, so it wasn't until my senior year when we started coming consistently. I started off my senior year rushing through rehab from a broken leg in which I suffered in the spring, and that was only the beginning until the fall of my senior year. My dad's father ended up passing away, and that crushed me just because of how close I was with my grandfather. The week after, at West Allegheny, I attended a opioid prevention assembly where I was introduced to one of the speakers by the name of Richard Levitt. He created this special bond right from the beginning. His goal was to spread awareness of the opioid crisis through his son Jonathan's story. And similar to me, Jonathan played hockey at West Allegheny. Come December of my senior year, I felt lost, hopeless, because hockey was always my escape from things. And mourning the loss of my grandfather, I didn't know what to turn to. So it was the week prior to Christmas, and my family came to church for the first time in a while, and it was towards the end of the service, they sang "How Great Thou Art." And for some reason, I just connected with that song, and it just spoke to me. I asked my parents, what that song was called. My dad replied, it was "How Great Thou Art," and it was actually one of your grandfather's favorite songs. And that just stuck with me. And the week after, we attended Christmas at Crossroads. I had a smile on my face and my mind was at peace, and I felt this really strong connection with God, in which I've never felt before. And that was the night where I committed my life to Christ. Around that time is when I decided to go and play hockey in college at Niagara University. It didn't really go as planned. I blew out my ankle before training camp. This left me time to fast with God, talk to my doctor, my family, which ultimately led to the decision of me not continuing to play hockey. And this did crush me because my whole childhood I dedicated to living out the dream of playing hockey in college. I talked to Mr. Levitt a lot about it, as we always had conversations about life in general. And unfortunately, a few weeks later, I got a call from a friend telling me that Mr. Levitt had passed away. Within a year, I lost my grandfather, and then Mr. Levitt came into my life, and I lost him. I lost hockey. I was asking God, why? Why is this all happening? And it was through that time where I really did grow closer to God. And as I grew closer to God, I began to heal physically and mentally after mourning the losses of my grandfather and Mr. Levitt. The summer of 2020, my faith continued to grow. I started my own landscaping business, and I started coaching at my alma mater as it was time for me to get involved again in the hockey community. Over this past year, I joined a life group, and also I've had the opportunity to help volunteer at the Crossroads Food Drive, which was really a neat experience as well. This upcoming fall, I'm entering my junior year at Robert Morris. I'm studying criminal justice with the plans of going into law enforcement. And I've learned so much from God and throughout this journey, and I continue to see signs, that I'm on the right path. No matter how negative a situation, I was always able to find a positive out of it. And lastly, in my life, God has bigger plans for me than I can ever imagine.